I know sometimes you got your notary with you, your stamp?
It's in the car.
Never leave home without it.
It's an old habit because that used to be my only source or main source. Yeah, high main source of income for a while. So leaving stamp at home, missing out on $200 when I could have been there in 20 minutes, opposed to now I got to go back home and drive back out 2 hours. So yeah, no, I keep the stamp, baby.
Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast. We're your host, Anthony.
And I'm Janoka.
Our goal is to help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs, and today is no different. This is not even a guest. This is a friend of the family at this point. Brother Dre. What's going on, brother?
What's up, big time?
Brother Dre,
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
He has been an entrepreneur for over a decade. He's been in the mobile notary business, teaching thousands and thousands. We were talking about this today, teaching thousands of students on a weekly basis how to start mobile notary businesses. And most importantly, it's a need-based business. And a lot of people want to talk about, scaling and growing, but you have to do the thing. You got to be good at the thing and also start it. So, Dre.
Appreciate being here. I feel honored in the studio with top podcasters.
Oh, yeah, man.
Speaking into existence.
Yes. Great day, great weekend. Let's do it.
So, Dre, before we even get started into the mobile notary, we'd like to spend the first part of our podcast kind of talking about who were you before you got there, before you became the mobile notary expert and teaching thousands of students?
Great question.
Like, where'd you even start from?
I was a teacher's aide and a youth basketball coach. I worked with special needs children in New York, in the same school district actually where I grew up at. And I actually beat my old coach in a playoff game. For 4th and 5th grade, I had a coach named Mike Cianelli. Shout out to Mike Cianelli. And when I started coaching, we played as his team, and we beat them in the last second.
Oh, nice!
It was a score. Yeah, it was a great game. So I'm a cool dude. Always been business minded. Got into real estate at an early age. 22, got a property. 23, got another property. Proud black man, community based, and I'm lit.
I can say that.
I love that description of yourself. And I'm lit. What part of New York?
Westchester County, New Rochelle, New York.
Okay.
And,
not necessarily the city.
And Yonkers, not the city, but city-ish.
City-ish, okay. And did you go to college at all? Or?
I went to college off and on for years. I went to Lehman College, CUNY.
Familiar with Lehman.
Shout out to the CUNY system. I went off and on for years. I was never in academia per se. So I went, but not like how y'all went, 4 years in and out.
Not
back in the world.
consistently.
No.
And so did you know when you were going to college, was there a specific career you were going for? Or?
I was a Black Studies major and a business minor. I took the classes that I wanted to take.
Okay.
I took what interests me.
I can see you being a Black Studies major.
Yeah, Black Studies major, business minor. I took what I wanted. Then I dated a woman, and she said, I don't even date guys without degrees, Dre. And it bothered me. Yeah, that was mean, right?
I know women like that, though.
Yeah, she said that. I was like, what are you talking about? And it bothered me because in my head, I looked at it as, I think I kind of quit on this school thing. So I took it seriously in my later 20s, early 30s, and I finished, or just about finished. I was able to walk. I had to finish 2 more classes. And but that was my college career. Very interesting. It's kind of like E.T., the hip-hop feature. It took him 12 years. It took me 14 years.
So you were just like, I'm done at this point?
I walked. For me, that was good enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I walked the commencement. I had pictures and everything. I was a great day. It was a great day because it was something that I didn't know if I could finish because in school I was able as having a learning disability. But 4 years after high school, I owned property. 5 years, I owned a business and another property. I just don't like the formal education system. It doesn't work for my brain.
Right.
So with the formal, like we come from that formal education system.
Yeah.
Do you think that over the years where we are today, that it should be changed? That there should be a structure to it?
It's too rigid. It's too rigid, and it works for certain people, but other people, hence like me, need something a little different. To accelerate. Why hasn't it changed ever? Why is it always the same? Everything else has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even religion.
Religion hasn't changed, though.
Oh no, it's
How we
changed.
go to church, when we go to church, what we wear to church. People are a lot more casual.
Who is up there
Okay, okay.
talking about church?
Who is up there?
What they're talking about?
Who they date.
Who they don't date?
Dating. Talking about dating in church.
So yeah, it's rigid, it's outdated, and for just out the structure thinkers, it doesn't suit people like us. But then if we don't succeed at it, we feel like we're dumb, or they tell us that we're dumb. Like, nah, just give me another way to learn. And why do I have to actually go to the bathroom?
Yeah, people talk about that. Like, they tell their child, like, don't ask to go to the bathroom. Like, well, they're going to be breaking a rule in the classroom. But it is bizarre.
It's a bit degrading.
Bizarre.
Come on, like,
It's bizarre, but
let me live.
a lot of people live under that mindset, like the kid needs to follow what I say. So
Yeah,
that's kind of the reason it's like that, probably.
So with you saying that, all right, I'm done with the school system. Like where we are today, everyone's talking about entrepreneurship. Do you feel like having kids right now, we're trying to figure out, does our kid need to go to school? Can they skip college and do the entrepreneurship route? What's your thoughts on that?
great question. So if we're talking about you guys in particular, of course, like we're homies, so I know you guys, and you guys talk about your finances, so I can talk about them. Like your lovely baby Ilani is rich, right? Like now she's rich, so she's in a great position. Thanks to y'all, thanks for you guys for building a great foundation. She'll have the option of whatever she wants to do, she can do. So I'm not against college. It's just not my thing. I try to be one of those people who are overly opinionated and tell other people what to do because I don't like that, so it's wrong. No, it's just not my personal thing. I would love to see more people do what you do is you set up a foundation that if it's not her thing or his thing, all right, here go 4 single families, go rock out, live off the rental income and go be an artist or go work for the city or whatever. I'm not going to say, no, don't send your kid to college. I love the fact that you guys have the option, though.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
Options is what we preach, just having that option to say yes or no or do something different. And I think, like you said, when you said it's so rigid, that's how we grow up. That's what we know. And we speak about that. Like, I don't know that there was a question of going to college. That's just what I knew I had to do.
It was it.
I don't think there was a discussion of you must go to college. It was a no-brainer.
It was
like, oh, I have to go, right? But if you knew those options, that would be different.
Then there's a stigma that if you don't go, you're kind of looked at differently, right? You're, you didn't go to college. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, now we have other options. Now we have Bible options, which pay more. Y'all get paid more outside of your job.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in new times. We're in different times.
So with entrepreneurship, I know my biggest thing about entrepreneurship is that it's not easy, but I had to grow and get that mindset before I even got here. So I want to go, before we even get to the entrepreneurship part of Dre, you said that you owned properties and you were a business owner. How'd you even have that mindset? Because in college or high school, I knew how to shovel snow. I did some of that stuff growing up, but I didn't have I didn't think there was a name for it.
Yeah. I think that comes from my semi-rebellion nature. Like, I mean, I want to ask person to go to the bathroom in high school. So I think that kind of leads over to my real life that I don't want to take orders from people. I don't want limits. So I want to make my own money. Hence entrepreneurship. So for me, it's always been not if I'm going to leave the career or a career. It's when I'm going to leave the career. I need enough money to go. Enough opportunity to go. So I saved up, I bought property with my not very high teacher's aid job and youth I was volunteer teacher's aid job, and I got some assets. I had a structure, had enough savings for me at the time. My car was older and I didn't have a car note, so I left. Jobs just don't do it for me. No offense to anybody else. This is a personal thing. I know we're in the era of people, again, telling people how to live when you don't pay their bills, which is just cruel. Nah, it doesn't work for me. I like naps. I've gotten into naps. Oh my God. In my mid-30s, like a daytime nap. I'm like a kid. So yeah, I don't like careers. I don't like jobs. Not to say I would never ever have one again, because I'm not rich enough to say that. But I really would like to not have a job ever again.
And can I ask you, how much were you making when you quit? amongst the teacher's aid and the coaching?
So it was to teacher's aid job, and I did Special Olympics. $47 a year, maybe $50,000 a year.
$50,000 a year.
Maybe $50,000 a year. Yeah.
And what year was this?
I've been jobbing for 13 years. 2009ish. 2010.
So that's 2009. I was making $35,000 a year, I believe, right after college.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated college in 2008. We had the crash.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure myself out between 2009 and 2010. So you were making pretty good money.
I was making very good money for a guy without a degree.
And I had a degree. I had a college degree, and I was making $35,000 a year in 2009.
So the funny thing is that you guys discussed that in my field, 35 is like the norm. I don't know what it is now, but back then, at least I graduated in 2010. 35 was like the norm. So if I would have saw 50, I would have been like, wow, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
And I was told, I was like, man, I had a good city job or a government job.
Yeah.
Like benefits, summers off, a lot of vacation time. But so even now, if I would have still stayed there, maybe 60, maybe 20 years later.
20 years later, you think you just would have been up 10? Not with a teacher's aid. With the pension, they pay them better than 10,000 20 years.
Not
much.
I mean, it's kind of capped off on what you can make.
That's true.
Unless I would have went to school to become a teacher.
Okay.
And a principal or assistant principal, but I still would have been at 60. Now, I've not a bunch of months, but I had a couple of months where I made more than 60. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, life is good. it all worked out. It worked out. And I'm still teaching, which is what you even think about it, right?
Yeah, in a different way.
Go figure.
In a different way. I know you mentioned about the properties and stuff. What business did you have first?
My first business that I incorporated was my notary business. The notary business, 24 was my first business. I learned it from my great friend, Ricky Salmon. Other friends said that he shows up somewhere, he makes $35, $75, $200 per appointment, no degree required. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, what is this thing? And I shadowed Ricky, and I saw him make about $300 a day. $300 a day, no job, driving all over the place. I said, I can do this because I'm more on a practical side of life in general. I'm more of a practical guy. My friend Montoya calls me Mr. Practical. And I said, man, I got this. So after that, it was on. I got licensed. I got my S corporation, and I've had a mobile notary company ever since 2005. It was November 2005 when I incorporated.
What is a notary? Because I want to make that very clear for our people listening.
Yes.
Because I didn't know what a notary was. I've seen what they do, but I didn't know the name of it.
It is a person who was licensed by the state to act and governed to act as an impartial witness on behalf of the state. So in real simple terms, we watch people, we verify people's identification, we watch them sign documents, we stamp the documents after they sign, and the state gives us authority to do so.
Got it.
So we had to. So Dre being the mobile notary expert, we had someone in our house. We were doing a closing. We were closing our house, and their system was down. They couldn't do anything. The system was down. We were upset. They was like, we're gonna get this fixed. We're gonna figure this out. So that night they said we're gonna send somebody to your house to get the document signed. It is 8, 9 o'clock at night. We're in our robes. We're eating dinner, and we're sitting.
I
there.
love those clothes.
They knock on the door, and it's like, oh, it's a mobile notary, and they literally helped us close on our house from home.
Yeah.
So that's what a mobile notary is.
That's one of the services that we can offer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Technically, that's called a notary loan signing agent.
So what other services are? Because I only knew about the one that closed, but what other services are in the mobile notary industry?
A lot of notaries also do fingerprinting, which is my favorite service. So
why is that one your favorite?
Yeah.
No printing of a bunch of. So that guy or that gal who did the closing for you guys probably had to print out all those
100
pages.
documents.
Yeah.
100 pages.
So did you get paid for printing that out?
It's included in with the fee. So,
okay.
So the paper was in part of the fee, and they probably upsold on that paper too.
Probably. Did they give you like a copy for yourself as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 sets of fingerprints. Let's say
a lot of paper.
So let's say that he charged the company, or he got paid $150, which is fair for half an hour. How low is it? Half an hour, 45 minutes or so?
45, I would say. It was a lot of paper.
All right, 45 minutes or so.
Both of us signed
So,
it, too.
I mean, still cool, right? Compared to what I used to make that in a day and a half. Fingerprinting, I can get 2 sets of fingerprints and be at someone's house for 15 minutes and charge at least $175 for those 2 sets of fingerprints. No printing, no going to FedEx afterwards or Kinko's, no scanning back the documents, which he or she might have to scan back those documents. It's just better, and I'm paid up front. Loan closing, generally speaking, don't pay up front. They pay 7 to 30 days later.
Okay.
I'm paid before I even leave the house with fingerprinting. So you get those.
Easier.
Yeah. Wills, power of attorneys, living trust, aka estate documents, apostille processing. That's when you're legalizing documents for a foreign country. So if you go to Columbia University for undergrad and you're getting a job in the country of Columbia, the job might not want the diploma from you or from the school. They might want an apostille. So we act basically like a high-end courier service. We meet up with you, or you mail us the documents. We attach an affidavit to it. Go to the county clerk's office. Go to the Department of State. Send the document back to whoever it has to go to. That's apostille processing. So there are a lot of ways to make money outside of loan closings in the industry.
Oh wow, yeah, didn't even know all those options.
And you can middleman these jobs. You don't got to do them yourself.
Ooh, we love that.
That's your whole life.
Yeah.
90% of it.
And do you still do the notary itself?
Once in a while,
Okay.
I do a few jobs. Just get the hunger. Just keep the hunger going.
Got it.
And I never want to be a solely internet entrepreneur. I want to actually have a business.
Yeah, Anthony says it sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know. For me personally, I don't know that it matters. Like, I feel like you've given your years to it, so I know you know it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if it changes anything.
I don't think so, because I have 16 freaking years of it.
Right.
But I don't think it hurts to just have a little foot in everything.
A temperature, check the temperature, see what's happening.
Just to let people know it's real.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you got your notary with you, your stamp?
It's in the car.
Never leave home without it.
It's an old habit, because that used to be my only source or main source. Yeah, high main source of income for a while. So leaving stamp at home, missing out on $200 when I could have been there in 20 minutes, opposed to now I got to go back home and drive back out 2 hours. So yeah, I keep the stamp, baby.
I actually thought of something as you were saying that. What did your parents think, or
Great
I'm not
question.
sure how involved they are in your life when you said, well, yeah, I'm not really going to go to school, or I'm going to do
close
this?
with them. So they always knew I wasn't the formal education guy per se. So, but the job, like I said earlier, is as good a job as you can get without having a degree for most people.
Okay.
So they were like, what are you gonna do? Stay there for 20 years.
Oh, the typical.
My mom was more than my dad was. He was strict on it. Because and really good benefits with the school system.
The school, yeah.
And
They have
just
great
all
benefits.
that
My
stuff.
mother's
Insurance?
a teacher, so I know. I was.
What?
I've never paid a copay ever.
No,
before 26.
But
I tried to join her mom's insurance when we got married. I'm like,
I'm too
don't
old by
join mine.
then.
Let me join your insurance.
so it wasn't, oh my God, this is great, go do it. But I had proof of concept with the business already. It wasn't I'm leaving before I started the business. I was making $300 to $500 a day in the evenings and weekends. Not every day, but like a firm 3-4 days a week for a while.
Oh, so how long were you doing all three? I guess the teaching, coaching, and the notary together.
A firm 2 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, firm 2 years. And so I had the proof of concept. I was making money, more money than I made at the job. And this is important too. I already owned property. I already owned property, so it wasn't like I had nothing. And my whole thing was I can just go back, which I did go back for a little while. So I left the job. It was booming, and someone ticked me off at the job. So I don't like being talked down to either. Very no-no, big no-no for me. Don't talk down to me. And this lady did that. I said, man, I am leaving. I'm not coming back. So I used up some sick days. I was home eating eggnog ice cream, and then I handed in my notice after I used the sick days up.
Yeah.
And then after that, the market crashed. And at the time in the business, I was focusing solely on loan closings, which was a no-no. You have to diversify your income within the industry that you're in. Loan closings slowed up, and I was literally doing $400-600 a day after I left the job, I was rolling, but then it stopped. My phone just stopped ringing. I was like, oh God, this is scary. So even though I might not always like taking orders, I am a good employee. So I went back to the job, and I was in a relationship with a woman who had a child. So I'm not one of those guys who doesn't have money if I got a girl and a kid. So I went back. I got paid $18.60 an hour. I stayed for another 9 months, and then I left the job again.
You went back to be a teacher's aide again.
Same job.
Same school?
Different school. Same school district.
Same school district.
Back.
Okay.
You back. I thought you were big bad.
Same school district, though. Same school district. And I did wind up going back to that school that I was at before. It was a high school. So I was very familiar with the people because I went to the school system as a kid, too, and worked there. But I'm a good guy. I just didn't like the way she was talking to me.
How'd that make you feel? You leave your job, you're on the top of the world, you're making money, $500-$600 a day, and you got to
I'm 25.
25.
$600 a day is great. Especially at 25.
I fought it as long as I could, but I'm one of those people who it's nice to have a caring woman, but I never want to be in a predicament where I have to ask a woman for my survival needs. Personal stance. And it was too close to that. I didn't get there, but it was too close. So I just said, all right, let me go back. Let me go back. So it was humbling. It was humbling, but I was glad I did it. It was needed. I mean, who wants to be broke?
Right.
It's not the move, man. And I see some podcasts and some shows where I wish they would tell them to go back to work for a little while.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah, we speak about that because we're like, the worst that can happen, and if you leave your job, is you can go back. Generally, most of us have a career.
Yes.
We can go back. There's nothing holding you back from going back, but your ego or whatever it may be.
Don't be broke, especially as a dude.
Don't be broke.
So that was it was needed. I had no other option.
Okay, so you went back.
No, we talk about that all the time. Like Janoka said, is like you don't have to. I know we get prideful and we're like, listen, we left our jobs. Now we're doing this entrepreneurship thing, but you've done this for 15, 16 years now. You knew, all right, I need to go back to figure this out.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, especially today, I want to make it very clear. We're talking about helping people outside their jobs, but your goal was just to have something that could support you outside your job, and that's how it started. So now you got the mobile notary where, as you leave again, I'm assuming, right?
I leave again.
9 months.
At what point do you know that, all right, this time is sustainable and it's something that more than just me doing a side hustle outside my job?
Great question. I did more services within the notary business.
Diversify.
So diversify within the same industry, which is enough.
No, you didn't jump industries? You didn't try something new?
No, I stayed. And even when I went back to the job, I still kept the business in the evenings and the weekends. I didn't stop doing the business. I never stopped it. I just did it less because I had to go back to work. So I stayed in the industry. I started doing other services. I started loan closings. I got better at marketing and advertising. And I said, okay, there's other ways to make money besides this one thing that was paying me really well. So I left again. And that was it. I didn't have to go back after that. And I got better with money.
So we were just asking you in terms of you go back to work and then you're like, all right, this mobile notary thing is starting to work. It's starting to pick up. And you mentioned like finding different streams of income within the same business model.
Yes. And I had a really good client who was giving me a lot of work. So that's the good thing about doing good business, what you guys know about. They'll give you a lot of business. They'll just throw it at you. So they would email me sometimes or call me and say, hey, Andre, can you or one of your people do a closing here? And I'm like, damn, that's like 6 closings. That's like $800-900. Yeah, I'm going to figure this thing out. So in my friend circle, we called it a whale when we had a client who gives us that much work. So diversification and a really good account. And I became a better saver as well. And I wasn't in a relationship anymore.
So you have more flexibility.
Listen, guys, if you are listening to this podcast and you're in a relationship and you're not married, just be mindful of the spending that you may incur. as a single man trying to date multiple women.
And
I've never done that. That wasn't my thing.
At that time when they said, "Can you or one of your people go and do A, B, and C?" Did you have people under you at the time?
I had a couple of friends.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I wasn't a full-fledged what we call a signing service, but I had about two friends who we all worked together.
Oh, okay. So you did have people that you could send.
So the mobile notary business, people who are listening to this, they're 9-to-5ers and they're figuring out, all right, and we want to talk about businesses that are sustainable. And this is obviously, you've been doing this for decades now. So I'm at my 9-to-5 right now. I'm trying to figure out, all right, how do I run this business where it helps me create more income or helps me get out my 9-to-5? And how do I start from the ground zero with that?
Step one, you get your Notary Public license. So you head to your Department of State website or your Secretary of State website and apply to get your license. Some states it's a test. Most states it's just paperwork. So it will cost you between $40 and $120, give or take. Take you between 2 weeks, long time period of 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how the state moves. But that's just step one. Get your license.
Who is it not for? The industry.
People who complicate things. The more complicated they make it, they don't make money. We saw a lady today. I don't know if you were there. I had a session where people were trying to complicate the names of their company. I tell them the system to use when naming their companies. They're saying all these fun, fancy names. No.
That's not what I said.
Just stick to the script. Do y'all not like money? So the overthinker, the person who's too smart, it could be formal education smart or just book smart, they think it has to be hard. Because school,
to make that money,
it has to be hard. Right? Physics, you have to have everything figured out, laid out, math problems and words in the same sentence, and it makes my head hurt just thinking about it. Not business and not this business. So no, the people who can't keep it simple, they don't make money. They don't make money. Yeah.
So we get our license in a couple of weeks. The state comes back. Where do we go from there?
I tell people to figure out their niche. You don't have to do all the niches that I recommend, all the services that I said. I think you pick two. So if it's fingerprinting and what people call general, I call specialized notarizations, where you work with the public and you meet with individuals who need documents notarized, and some businesses for estate plan documents, affidavits, parental consent forms. So if your lovely child goes away without you to a foreign country, you might have to give permission for that person to take them. And people need a lot of stuff notarized.
Yeah.
People need a ton of stuff notarized. Trust, healthcare proxies. So pick which route you're going to go all in on it, study the paperwork, practice the paperwork. Don't take it for granted. It's simple, but it's not easy. And I just start from there. After that, you start to market. Cold calling works. I try to do it as a last resort. I try to get people to advertise and make themselves look pretty enough so people call them instead of them having to go find people. Yelp, Google Places, Bing are great places to start. Thumbtack, great place to start. And know your prices. In this industry, there is no benefit to being the cheapest. Maybe no industry ever, but definitely this industry. We are dealing with people's precious documents. You did a loan closing, right? It was a refi or purchase. I don't know if you want to talk about it. You don't have to talk about it. But that's a big deal. Both of them. That's a big deal. Would you rather someone pay somebody $75 who doesn't sound confident, doesn't have a website, answer their phone, hello, or pay somebody $150 who answers their phone like, good evening, thank you for calling XYZ Mobile Notary Service, how can we help you? You pay the $150 because this is your crib or two cribs. So don't be the cheapest, be up there. I have people tell me, hey, Andre, you aren't the cheapest. You're actually very high up there on the price range, but you answered your phone, you called me back, and you have a voice message. You have a voicemail on your phone set up, so they have to leave a message.
I'm just shaking my head because you know, if you're new here, we have a cleaning business and we talk about service-based businesses, and it's the same type of thing of how people can stand out and people choosing crazy names and all the things. Like we give you the blueprint, and just follow
We
it.
have a
But
lot of
you-
layover with our industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot
What
of
you just
layover.
saying, like just being available, how you show up on your website, how when someone calls you, having a voicemail. Those little
Sounds
things
simple.
make a difference. But
easy.
some people just
That's
don't.
80% of the battle right there.
Yeah.
That's literally 80% of the battle. And I tell people, who do you do business with? Think about yourself and put yourself in their predicament.
Yeah.
And let's just tighten it up. So, yeah, man, that's the rundown. If you start with those things, you'll get calls coming in. You'll get calls coming in. You'll close some deals.
With the paperwork, it is 100+ documents. Do you have to know what every document means and study it? And because I will sit there and ask them questions based on my friendship with you to see
Yeah.
how much they know sometimes, and they really know what each document means.
So,
Oh, you
with
talking
loan-
about with the loans and the
With the loans, I only
the
know about
houses,
the loans.
okay.
I've never done
Yeah.
anything else. But
with the loan closings, it's one of those things that you'll get better at as you go along.
I would think
There
so.
are a few main documents that you must know before you get out there: the truth in lending disclosure, the note, the mortgage, otherwise known as the deed of trust, and the HUD document. Sometimes they call the HUD document something else. The HUD document is the main document that has your interest rate, your closing costs, if you're doing a refi cash out, how much cash you're getting back out, and your new monthly payment and any fees that you were charged. If you go over the HUD in great detail, most people won't even ask anything else about the loan packet, to be honest with you. So
I
tell
wouldn't.
people-
If it was me by myself, I wasn't asking nothing.
you just said you're not good at school. You're not college educated. You weren't. You wasn't
went
in
to
the
college.
system.
Oh, he ended up going.
I went to college
You got
for a
educated,
long time.
But that wasn't your
Longer
thing.
than usual.
Yeah, it wasn't
But you
my
just
thing.
sit there. You just sat there and went through these documents in great detail and just broke it down. So why do you? So I guess my question is, did you have transferable skills that you received at college that translated over to the mobile notary business, or did you feel like you had personal skills that translated over to
I have good people skills.
people skills?
I have great people skills. That's one of my best skills. I don't have a lot. Of,
Okay.
I don't have a lot of great skill sets, but that's what I'm on. I generally get along well with people. I can make people feel comfortable. I'm not annoying. Kind of cool. I'm not that serious. And when I'm in your house performing closing with you, or at Starbucks or whatever, we're cool. We're vibing, and I know the important stuff. I know the important stuff, and get the important stuff out the way first. The rest of the closing goes smooth. Most people don't want you there a long time anyway. And if the bank is good, they went over the stuff with them ahead of time anyway. So that's the
So
key.
sometimes the companies give you some education on the documents. You're saying.
They go over the documents with the borrower or the buyer.
Oh, with the
seller.
buyer. Okay, I get
So,
what
so
you're saying.
when we come, Mark called me earlier. It's all good. Here goes my ID. I'll start signing when you're ready. Okay, perfect.
Got
So
it.
A lot of closings go like that.
So this all sounds really good. What challenges do you face in the business, or is there many? Or
Well, it's a business. It is a business. So there's no or there's not a ton of contracts where a company might give you all their business. Now sometimes they do. So sometimes you are under an agreement, but you gotta kill what you eat what you kill.
Eat what you go.
So you got to be on it, especially in the early days.
grinding?
Oh, here goes something. If someone isn't a repeat client, they might not even leave you a voice message when they call you. They might just go and find another notary. So you got to answer your phone. You got to answer your
Gotta
phone
be
or
available.
get back to people very, very quickly. There's no real loyalty when they don't know who you are. So
Right.
that is a challenge. That is a
If I
challenge.
got my job, how do I answer my phone?
It's tough. It's tricky. So I tell people to create a great website that encourages them to send you an inquiry via email, or put on your website. Please feel free to send a text message in big letters. Call to action. Call to action. Yeah.
Yeah, because then I would text.
Yeah, I'm not calling if I don't got to.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't talk to anybody, fam.
I
I don't want to talk to anybody.
You're like, just come. I'm just having you sign this paperwork. Let's keep it moving.
And honestly, there are some jobs you're going to miss out on because you have a job. So I tell people, just prepare yourself for a grind, not to get every appointment. You're going to miss some. It just is what it is. There's no way to perfect this whole machine. You're in business.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And usually, if you're doing this full time, how much can someone make usually, or how much were you making at one point?
So
I think there's different seasons.
yeah, so if I had to, when it was my full-time thing, me out there performing the assignments myself, 6, 8, 10, 12, maybe a little bit more than that once in a while, but generally between that 8 to 12 mark was around my high points.
8 to 12,000 a month.
Yeah, 8,000 a month.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
That is pretty high.
And that's when you're doing this full time.
I was doing it full time. Yeah.
You making more than what a lot of people make at their full time job.
With a master's, I ain't making that.
Are you working 40 hours doing this? Is it like 8 to 5, anything like that, 7 to 4?
It would be an appointment. So here's the good thing about this business too. The appointments don't take that long. So I might have a 7 o'clock appointment in Brooklyn. No appointments till 10. Queens at 10:30. No appointments till 4:30 in Scarsdale. Then one in White Plains after that. So it's generally not back to back to back to back. It can be 40 hours with the driving.
Okay.
But typically not, though. More like 20, 25 hours.
But even if it's 40 for $8,000 to $12,000, I'll do it.
It's a win. Man,
Because I ain't getting that. Now.
If people knew how much money there is to make in this industry, they would look at it differently. Even today, when we saw people, Andre, see, no one said, Andre, your class sucked, right? You see, nobody said that. They said, man, I fell off, this and that, yada, yada. No one said it sucked. People overlook stuff. People want sexy.
Yeah.
People want cool. People want flash. Man, give me that 6, 8, 10, 12.
They want it to be Instagrammable.
Yeah, 13, 14 bands a month and keep it rocking.
Is there a way, do you have to continue to get knowledge on this, or nothing is really changing in the notary business?
That's the great thing about it. Very little.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, and I go through my classes sometimes. I say, should I update this? I'm like, why am I updating this?
Well, what is there to update? Yeah.
Not much.
Exactly.
Some things there are, but generally speaking, not much. Maybe marketing, as you guys said about answering your phone at work and creating like a Calendly link so people can go online and book you without speaking to them, things like that. But this industry, the simpler you keep it, the more money you make. Yeah, shout out to Notary.
So you had mentioned your class. I want to talk about that for a little bit too. So what is the class and what does it entail?
Yeah, so 2015, I was in a car accident in the great city of New York. And I was hit by a cab in New York City, rear-ended, and I couldn't do the jobs anymore. So that forced me to focus on building my signing agency, which was a blessing in disguise, and I started teaching online. Our signing agency, for you guys who don't know, is when you basically mailman the job. So I was dabbling at it before that, but I was forced to go all in. So if a company paid me $300, I'll pay somebody else $150 to do the jobs for me. And I started teaching, and it went really well, really, really well. So it was a 4-week live interactive course. I think I made it 5 weeks with Q&A, and we had 200 people at $100 a pop. We made 20 bands. I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. And it was just me laying out my knowledge. I didn't, and at that time, I didn't even know how to create a PowerPoint on my own. I had people help me out with the PowerPoints. I knew that I knew enough information. I knew it like the back of my hands. I just didn't know the exact teaching structure. So I got help with that. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since. And my greatest review that I got was, Andre, you were able to take a concept that might be very complex, but make it simple for us. I said, I'm back teaching, baby. All these years later, I'm back teaching. Yeah, it all worked out. So I've been doing it since 2015, formally online. Wow. Yeah, really cool.
And you're teaching people how to start agencies, or they could do the work themselves and start an agency.
Yeah, so we have a self-employed column. We have an agency column. We have a fingerprinting column. We show you how to notarize documents, and we show you how to process apostilles as well. So every aspect of the business. As of now, not online notarizations, because it doesn't pay that much. It doesn't pay that much, so I
didn't even know that existed. I was going to ask if that existed, but yeah.
It exists in some states. It's a thing, but it's not like
a thing.
We had to do it for something, and I think I put it on Twitter. I was like, I didn't know that you could notarize documents online.
Because then doesn't it take away the point of notary of them watching you, unless they're doing a camera, or like maybe it's a Zoom meeting.
Oh no, we did do a. Go ahead, that's your. It was a video.
Oh, it was.
It is
Okay.
a bit, yeah. So there are ways to secure it, but some people don't like it, and I know people who do it. I know people who do it because I've never gotten to it. But basically, our academy gets you everywhere you need to be. Besides that, as of right now, depending on where the industry goes, we'll add some lectures in there for that. But yeah, everything you need to know, we teach you.
It was for the state. It was a state document, maybe an ID or something, and they did a. It was during the pandemic too.
Okay.
It was doing that. Oh, speaking of, like, did you have to make any crazy shifts during the pandemic in your business?
So I knew this business was recession proof. I didn't know it was pandemic proof.
I don't think a lot of people knew businesses were
Well,
pandemic proof.
yeah, we didn't even know what a pandemic was.
People
Blatant.
were making more money,
Because you can't go anywhere.
a lot more, because you can't go anywhere. A lot of notaries dropped out of the industry because they didn't want to be so close to people.
Yeah. Especially in their house.
Yeah, yes, people leaving out, and the interest rates went down, so the closings went up tremendously.
People who were buying money were still buying. They're like, listen,
Buying a lot.
pandemic.
Pandemic for real.
People.
I had people hit me up all over the country. Hey, Andre, I made $8,000 this month. Like, who just started? $8,000, $6,000, $12,000. Like, oh shoot! Like the pandemic was real. So
If I was you, I'd be like, I need to get back in there again. It's time for me to test it out again. Oh, so they were making more money. I mean, that makes a lot of sense in this specific market.
Yeah, making more money.
So how can people find out how to get inside of your program too?
They can. I'll give you guys a link. They click the link below and join our 2 through 12K club. That gets you access to everything. And what people love, so the content is fire. People dig it. People dig it a lot. We have a 94% satisfaction rate. Even people who don't go through with the business, they still like the lectures, which is really dope. We have an accountability class the first 3 Wednesdays of every month at 12 p.m. That's where I get at people. Live, me and them. Some people I have to get pretty firm with because some people just are kind of dragging their feet. And sometimes I feel bad, but they tell me that they appreciate it. So I got to be tough, Coach.
It's the New York
Dre.
in you.
It's the New York and New York and Jamaican. So it's a tough combination. And I sit there with them and we just go over stuff. I'm like, yo, like you aren't doing this, or you did this right. Let me give you a round of applause. And sometimes I make them do what they should have done last week during the class.
Yeah.
People need accountability, and it's okay. Everyone gets it. LeBron James gets it. Kobe Bryant, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant, gets it. People pay people to make sure that they stay on track. So that's one of the great things. That's one of the greatest aspects of our program.
I saw this in person. Literally, people, and I'm not a mobile notary. I'm not in Andre's program. But I am sitting there with him at this event they were at, and people are literally coming up to him and saying, your program changed my life. I love the accountability. I'm like, wait, you could go live in these calls? You could do live calls? And I've seen it firsthand, so it is changing people's lives.
Appreciate that, brother.
And so now that you've been working for yourself for so long, what would you say that it has allowed you to do?
Work from wherever I want. So I got good at systematizing, hiring, sometimes firing, sometimes hiring again. But getting it structured and organized as I as I possibly could. That was my problem for a long time. So along my journey, I've had ups and downs, but a lot of it came from not being as organized as I could have been or should have been. So I spent my mid-30s getting better at it, paying experts what I need to pay them, not arguing about their fee, paying the email marketing people. Okay, that's your fee. All right, and I never paid someone this before every month, but here it is.
Here it is.
and I just grew. Tired of me trying to do everything and me just having a cap off, and I just wanted more time freedom. So I got it. So, and I do less stuff now too.
How long did it take you to get to that point? Was that like
Well,
just
it
2
took a
years
long
ago, or was that
time.
like
So-
7 years ago I figured that out, or?
I would say till 35. So about 5 years ago, I got it figured out. And it was a process.
Yeah.
It was steps by steps, getting out of my own way, breaking old habits. But I was messing up. Things just weren't getting done as well as they could have been. I'm repeating stuff. I'm having to do stuff twice. Now, the other day in class, someone asked me where XYZ is. I knew exactly where it was in the portal. Here you go. Start right here. Here's what you do after that, because I took time. I slowed down to speed up. And it worked. But it's tough to break bad habits as an adult. But I did it.
Yeah.
Man,
I did it.
Dre, you dropped a lot of game. You got anything else for him?
No, I did not. I just thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge with our community and our following.
Thank you for having me on this top podcast.
Top podcast.
Top-rated podcast.
One question before we go. In one sentence, what does the word more than a side hustle mean to you?
Ooh, more than a side
That's not a word, it's a phrase.
Well, he has to answer in one sentence.
Okay.
What does the phrase more than a side hustle mean to you?
A business that can run without you eventually.
Okay.
You don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
Dre, appreciate you being here on the podcast once again. Tell the people how they could find you, connect with you, reach out to you.
Find me YouTube. I'm on YouTube, Andre C. Hatchett. I have a podcast too called The Hatchett's Way. Even though I like your new name, I might change my name too. I copy whatever Anthony does. Whatever Anthony does, I just copy it without shame. Find me there. Link below to join the program. And I'm happy to be here. Honored to be here with you lovely people. You guys are the Beyonce and the Jay-Z of the common folk.
Love to hear it. As you know, I'm obsessed with Beyonce, so it works out.
And on that note, we are going to wrap. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the podcast. Please leave us a 5-star review if you feel like we are a 5-star podcast.
Yes, make sure you also are subscribing, sharing, and letting people know what we're doing and talking about.
We are out. Peace.
Thank you.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.